Good morning and welcome to Good for Garden. I am Miriam. So today I have a lot of work to do in the garden. I am preparing for the spring and I've got quite a bit of a mess from the fall, things that I haven't gotten around to pulling yet. So my son is here with me this morning.
Hi.
He is going to help me. He wanted to help me out in the garden this morning. So we're gonna pull some weeds and pull out old vegetables, plant new ones in that I seeded inside about 6 weeks ago, and hopefully get all of that done in about an hour to get ready for school. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you guys my mess first. Before even entering the garden, there is work to do. I need to pull up these weeds that are growing between my flowers, as well as pull up some of these dead flowers that didn't make it through the cold weather. So entering in this bed here, my herb bed, this was my basil that was thriving and so big and beautiful, but we had some unusually freezing temperatures here for about 2 weeks, and it completely froze my basil and some of my other plants. So I need to pull this up out as well. I will also be tending to this sweet potato plant today. I was told to let the leaves die back completely to know when it's done, and it's halfway there, but I can't wait any longer because I do need this bed space to plant some spring crops. So this will be coming out today. So I had also shared with you guys in the fall that I had a caterpillar problem in my garden, and it devoured all the leaves on my lettuce plants and left the stems. Well, since I got rid of the caterpillars, the spinach leaves grew back on their own, and I wasn't expecting that. So it's been such a nice surprise to watch it come back. So I will be pulling these out and harvesting these as well. I will also be pruning these tomato plants that have grown out of control. I can't even tell which one is which anymore. And lastly, I will be harvesting a few of these heads of kale because they are starting to flower, so I really need to start pulling them up and eating more of them. My son has given us a head start on cutting the vines of the sweet potato at the base so we can just pick up the entire trellis and move it without untangling the vines. So when I first was pulling this up, I was really hoping for a big, beautiful potato, at least one. And I got more stunted potatoes. They're about the size of a regular red potato instead of a large sweet potato. So this is not a crop that I've had success with. I planted 3 other plants that I've pulled up over the course of the 10 months that they had been planted, and they just would not grow beyond the size of a regular potato. So this is not something that I'm probably going to grow again because I just did not have good success with it. And I've got a lot that I'll be pulling up out of the dirt like this that just look like little baby potatoes. So I mean, I'll still cook them and make a small little dish with them, but it's just too bad that they took up a lot of good growing space and didn't yield me the harvest that I was hoping for. So that's just really good for me to know going forward and how I am preparing and planning for my bed space. I am amending the soil by adding organic fertilizer, then blood meal, bone meal, soil acidifier, and finally the gypsum. I'm going to mix this together very well within this bed, and I also am going to do this same mixture anywhere where I am planting new for this spring season in the rest of my garden beds. We are done mixing and are now smoothing out the soil so that I can start transplanting. My son has to leave me for the morning. He has to start school. So I'm going to complete the transplanting in this bed and then just be done for the day. So here are my starts that I planted 6 weeks ago that I will be transplanting into that bed I've prepared. I am also going to relocate this bell pepper plant into that other garden bed, and I've already created a hole for it. So right now what I'm doing is loosening up the soil around this plant as wide as I possibly can so that I can keep the majority of this root system intact. So the reason that I want to relocate this is because it's just not getting enough sun in this area. The plant is short and doesn't even come above the bed, so I really need to move it to put it in a better spot. So this is the new home for this bell pepper plant, and as you can see, it's a much better location for it. It's already taller than this bed and you can just see the sun shining on it. So this plant should thrive much better in this location. These other two are also bell pepper plants that I started inside. So what I'm going to do is just keep all the bell pepper plants in the same row and plant them right next to the larger one. Right behind the bell pepper, I am planting a row of okra. I am transplanting these two okra plants and then sowing a seed right behind the larger bell pepper plant. So I had completed this bed and was done for the day when I noticed we started having a windstorm. I put my chairs up trying to block the wind. I did not have any clear bottles to cover each individual plant like I would have normally done in this circumstance. So unfortunately, I did end up losing two of the plants that I transplanted in this bed today. I removed the old cucumber trellis from these two black posts so that I can get to my tomato plants a little easier. I have not pruned these plants in about 3 months and they have grown completely out of control. So I won't bore you through this process because I know it's going to take me a long time to untangle, unravel, and prune, but you see the before and I will show you the after once I'm all done. I started off pruning the lower branches off to lift the canopy of the plant. Removing the lower branches helps to prevent different kinds of diseases because the water is not splashing the soil back onto those lower hanging leaves. So now my canopy is about 12 to 18 inches from the soil. I have oriented the branches back in line with the base of each plant, and I've also thinned out the canopy of each plant. So this was all I am able to achieve today because I have to get ready to meet a client. So tomorrow will be day 3. I'm beginning the day by harvesting my spinach plants because I'm going to reconfigure this bed just a bit, so I have to get all of these plants out of the way. I'm actually going to be putting another trellis up for the cucumbers to climb up, but I am starting the trellis towards the back of the bed this time so that I can leave room in the front for new spinach and salad bowl lettuce. I have amended my soil and added the trellis for the cucumbers. I cut out large openings so that I can stick my hands through to access the cucumbers once the plants get large enough and start producing. The trellis that I had my last cucumbers climbing on, I did not add these openings and I regretted it. So I have placed them high and low to create easy access for myself in the future. So with every season that passes, I continue to learn and get better. Unfortunately, I did lose all of my cucumber transplants from the wind, so I just direct sowed them on the inside of the trellis, and then I planted 3 rows of spinach and salad bowl lettuce right in the front. Today I am working in my herb bed and I am pulling up some of the arms of my mint that are spreading into my onions. And I have a few friends who really love mint, so I am transplanting them so that I can give them away. I also pulled the dead basil plants up and transplanted a new starter that I purchased from the store. Lastly, I will be harvesting peas. This plant did not produce for me at all this past fall, but it is now, and I'm really excited because these peas are so sweet and taste so good. I also love to look at this plant because this produces flowers that look like miniature orchids and they're so beautiful. And so this is the bowl that I have pulled. I am making some stir fry tonight, so I'm going to save these for my stir fry. I'm going to grab some onions for the stir fry as well to prepare my dinner. One quick note, one of my subscribers sent me his video on how to enclose your garden. Click on the watch link if you would like to check it out. So thank you guys for hanging out with me these last 4 days as I have prepared my 2021 spring garden. It has been a lot of work, and with all of the weather delays and losing some fresh little tender babies, it definitely was a little bit of a fiasco, but the work is finally all done. It did take me about 12 hours total, so I had to just work on it a couple of hours a day when I was able, because I have other things that I have to tend to as well. So after these last 4 days, it's finally all done. So that's the really exciting part. Now it's just the maintenance of it all and keeping everything up watered according to this time of year. So one thing that I also wanted to just quickly point out to you guys, if you're not cataloging your garden, it might be a good idea to journal it. Either do a video journal or a regular journal so that you can keep track of the sun patterns where you actually garden at in your yard. I noticed that in the winter months, my herb bed hardly gets no sun. And when I put this bed here last year, it was the middle, almost summer. So this was my first winter in my herb bed, and my basil didn't stand a chance through those really cold nights here that we got in Arizona during the winter months, because it just was too shaded all day. It didn't get enough sun. So I'll know for next year to make sure that I plan accordingly so that I can maximize my potential harvest going forward. So that's one thing that has helped me as I continue to learn and grow on this journey. I'm cataloging what works best, either by video or writing it down. I hope that tip of information helps you all. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave me a line in the comment section. I will get back with you. And until I see you again, may your life and your garden produce good fruit.